Welcome to this week's bonus video. Today we're having a look at the July 2023 Eternal Format tournament that took place at Dragon's Lair at Alamo Ranch. This has been a very fun tournament, and we've had a lot of fun with all the tournaments we've been doing for Eternal Format. I feel genuinely like they've been getting better and better as the players have gotten more comfortable with the format. They're getting more creative in their deck building. The tournaments are just getting way more interesting, and they've been pretty good from pretty much the get-go. In this particular tournament, we're going to be seeing some more creative decks. August's is even cooler. I'm very much looking forward to you guys seeing August's here in a couple weeks. So with that said, I do want to kind of go over what Eternal Format even is real quick. I know not everyone who watches these tournament videos is aware of what Eternal Format is. So for the record, there are 3 official formats in the Pokemon trading card game. There is the standard format, there is the expanded format, and there's unlimited format. Now, standard is by far the most popular format. Most events take place in this format. And basically everything that's like a sanctioned premier event is going to be in standard format. So your league cups, your league challenges, your regionals, your international tournaments, those are all going to be standard format. At least that's been the case since COVID. Prior to COVID, there were some in expanded, and not so much anymore. Expanded, of course, is the other somewhat played official format. It's a format that used to see some love from Pokemon Company International, but like I kind of mentioned when we were talking about standard, it's more or less been ignored since COVID, and there really hasn't been anything helping keep it going past COVID. So it's unfortunate. So standard, of course, right now is E-regulation onward. So this battle style is approximately forward, and expanded is black and white forward. And it has a ban list, of course. Standard currently has no banned cards. Black and white, of course, does, or the expanded format, of course, does. So you have 2 formats that are both official formats that see a decent amount of play, and then you have the unlimited format, which sees next to nothing. Even prior to COVID, there were not going to be any premier events in unlimited format. You're not going to be playing your league cups in unlimited, basically because the format is entirely broken. It's broken because you have cards that were not designed to work with each other, 20 years apart or so, and they're breaking the game, right? And now all the cards do that, obviously. But unfortunately, in Unlimited, you have enough of them that it causes the person who wins the coin flip to win the game literally every time. I know in standard format, we complain that, the person who wins the coin flip wins the game. But especially since Iona has been printed, it's not really that anymore. There's a lot more back and forth. There is a chance to win, right? Unlimited, though, there is enough consistency. There is enough brokenness that's the case, right? You win the coin flip, you win the game. It's just a matter of, you get your first turn and then you set everything up, dunk your opponent, and you win. But unlimited doesn't have to be broken, right? We can have a game, if you will, that uses cards all the way back from the original sets and still maintains a semblance of playability and some fun and some creative deck building, right? That's the whole idea of the Eternal format, right? Eternal is base set forward, so just like Unlimited in that respect, but unlike Unlimited, there is a ban list. There's also a couple of small deck building rules that have been added to make sure things are smooth and clean, but for the most part, it's a ban list and unlimited, right? So big card pool, lots of creativity to be had, and that's Eternal. Super, super fun. And I hope you will enjoy this video. But also, if you happen to be in the San Antonio area on Saturday, September 16th, you can join us. You can build your own Eternal Format deck, and you can jump in with us at Dragon's Lair at Alamo Ranch at noon. So registration starts at noon. Deck validation also starts at noon. So you can bring your deck, get your deck validated, get registered, and have some fun with us. Now, with that said, let's look at round 1. All right, here in round 1, Darkrai faces off against Lost Link Box. These are both very, very interesting decks. Darkrai, of course, gets some very awesome tools out of sets prior to the current standard sets. So it gets Zoroark GX, among others. Gets to draw a little bit of extra cards, has decent attack in this format. Gets good Zorua, gets Darkrai GX. It gets access to Lapras, which is always good for every Eternal deck. Lapras is just super strong. Has a Poké Power that allows you to just search for a supporter when you play it down. That sounds familiar. It's because it's the original Luminion, if you will. Very, very good effect. Otherwise, deck's fairly straightforward. You get Dark Claw, get a little extra damage in there. There's Black Market Prism Star to reduce the prize cards your opponent takes if there's Darkness Energy attached to the Pokemon that is knocked out. You get stuff like Hypnotoxic Laser to poison and potentially sleep your opponent. All in all, pretty straightforward deck, but a good one, right? You're just trying to go fast, and in Eternal, you can go pretty fast. After Darkrai, of course, we have Lost Link Box. This is A little more complicated. This is like Lost Box Ancient Brother. This deck is a very different sort of Lost Box deck. You'll note that it does not run any copies of Comfey. It does not want any copies of Comfey. They are redundant. It does use the Jirachi from Rising Rivals, which of course has the detour attack for no energy. You just copy the effect of the supporter card that you played that turn. The wording on the card itself is something to the effect of use the supporter card's effect that's in play for the effect of this attack. Of course, that refers now, because we no longer leave the supporter card out, to the supporter that you played that turn. It also has a Poke Power that basically says, if this Pokemon is knocked out, search your deck for a card, which is familiar, but also extremely strong. So good little effect to have. There is Mew in this deck from Triumphant. Mew, or Mew Primus, a lot of people refer to it, has the Lost Link Pokebody. Lost Link, of course, allows you to copy the attack of any Pokemon in the Lost Zone, either yours or your opponent's. You, of course, do still need the necessary energy to use the attack, but you can copy whatever. So you look at this deck list and you'll go, there's some interesting stuff in there. I think there's shenanigans going on. And you'd be right. There are some serious shenanigans going on. And this deck, of course, is a bit of a wombo combo, but when it pulls it off, oh boy, does it go off. This deck can go from being behind, so far behind, where you have one prize card left to take, and then it just goes, okay, I'm done sleeping. I'm going to take all 6 prize cards now. Thanks. Bye. It's pretty crazy. I don't remember whether we actually see this go off on the recording here today. I really do hope we do, but I don't remember one way or the other. I will say this though, when it happens, and I've seen it happen a few times, good Lord, is it devastating. You can just do some absolute devastation. You can weaken your opponent's Pokemon with the Kyogre. You can just annihilate a squishy board. If you're playing against something like United Wings or Regigigas, you just start sweeping them that way, or especially if they have no sort of bench protection in. And then you can, of course, go crazy with Dialga V-Star's V-Star power, Dialga GX's GX attack, and Medichem's Yoga Loop. So you can you effectively just go, okay, I'm going to use the first one that says to take an extra turn, and then I'm going to use this one to take an extra turn, and then I'm going to use this one to take an extra turn, and just go bounce, 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 and take enough knockouts that your opponent just loses. And you've taken like 4 turns in a row, and it's crazy. But it's also pretty hard to set up. But when you do set it up, oh, it's so cool. I've seen it happen a few times. I know I can hear my excitement. I've seen it happen a few times, and whew, like I said, it's a bit of a wombo combo, but man, when it works, it's cool. Let's get into the game. All right, our players are getting shuffled up. And their deck's ready to go. Again, this is Darkrai versus Lost Link Box. Hopefully a nice good game here. So we got a mulligan on the Darkrai player's side. Love that Moonbreon playmat. All right. They're starting Darkrai and starting Sableye. We've got an Oranguru on the bench. That is the Primate Wisdom Oranguru. If you're curious, that's the one that allows you to swap the top card of your deck with a card in your hand. Trainer's Mail is going to find a Dark Claw. Dark Claw is a tool card that boosts the damage of Dark type Pokemon. So kind of like a Muscle Band, if you will. But, you know, more limited. It's like a Muscle Band with flavor. All right, we do see that Dark Claw come down on the Darkrai and Lost Link Box's turn. Kind of making a decision there. Trying to figure out what is the best combo for this turn. Like a discard going on, maybe? Our choices? Okay, we see a Luxury Ball deck come down. Luxury Ball is an item card that allows you to search your deck for a Pokemon, except for any Pokemon level X, and put it into your hand. Very, very strong card. A staple of this format. Definitely is going to see play in just about every deck in the format. It's basically a Master Ball, but not, right? Level X's don't see a ton of play. They do see a little bit of play. They can certainly see play in Lost Link Box, but no, they don't see enough to be worried necessarily about finding them with Luxury Ball. And of course, if you really need to find them, you can always play Ultra Ball. But that said, Luxury Ball has found a Lapras. Lapras is digging, I think, for Colossus Experiment. Yes, that of course makes sense. You want the Colossus Experiment. Digging for some cards. Want to find that Jirachi to get it out and get the plan going. We do see Kyogre and Dialga V-Star hit that Lost Zone very quickly. That's already scary. Jirachi does go down, and we do see a retreat on that Sableye. So the Jirachi will be in the active spot so that it can use Detour. And I think, is that what's going on right now? Nope, not yet. Detour for Colorless Experiment. So again, Colorless Experiment, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose 2 of them and send those to the lost zone with the other 3 into your hand. Pretty awesome effect for this deck, of course, because you want those cards in the lost zone to pull off your wombo combo. All right, Darkrai going for a Dust Ball. Probably going for a Zorua, I have to wonder. Going for Galarian Moltres V. Okay, going to get some energy in play, focusing on that instead of some draw. Seems fine. So if you get a Darkness Energy in the discard, could be especially good. Do want to see, okay, going for the end. So both players shuffling their hands in their deck and drawing 6 cards. Neither player has taken a prize card, so that's fine, right? Just kind of a reset on the hands for both of them. No real card advantage gained for the Lost Link Box player, unfortunately. They kind of lost all the cards they just pulled off of Colorless, but they do still have those 4 cards in the lost zone, whereas the Darker player now has a fresh hand, or he will once he stops shuffling. That's it. Maybe. There we go. All right. We are going to see some hands now. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And what we got? I do see another Nest Ball. Going down with that Nest Ball. Maybe a Zorua this time? Maybe? I feel like a Zorua is appropriate. I saw a Darkrai GX kind of get filled. There's a Zorua. Okay. Getting a build up as Zoroark, get some draw and play. Zoroark, if you didn't play when Zoroark was in format, it's strong. Imagine if Kirlia could also be a pretty damn good attacker. That was Zoroark. It's fantastic. Definitely worth playing, and it comboed with freaking everything. Anything that ran DCE, anything that didn't run DC. It was a very good consistency card, a pretty decent attacker and all, and it was good. It's one of the strongest cards ever printed. There's some argument to be made that maybe it was overtuned and it was too strong. I feel like maybe that's kind of revisionist. I don't really think it was. Yes, it was very, very good, but it was very, very good in this card is super strong, like in the Italian engine level, not necessarily in the this card broke the game like ADP or the Fusion engine, especially ADP. But yeah, super good card, super versatile in terms of how it could be played. It just made deck building very interesting because yes, they were playing Zoroark, but were they playing Gliscobot? Were they playing Gardevoir? Were they playing Buzzwole? Were they playing Lycanroc? Like, just because it was Zoroark deck didn't mean it was the same thing you were playing. They just had the same engine. Kind of similar to the Lost engine now, right? Lost engine, there are some variants. You've got the Turbo Lost box, you've got Giratina, Gudra, all of course seeing various degrees of success. But Zoroark was even more versatile, right? Zoroark was able to do more for more decks, and so Zoroark could just be in a lot of stuff. We do see Lost Link Box player using the Colorless Experiment again, or having used the Colorless Experiment again. Looks like they played a card maybe to get the Greninja. I'm trying to figure out what just happened there. Okay, so that was Hisuian Heavy Ball. Oh, I figured it out. Hisuian Heavy Ball found the Radiant Greninja going down the bench. I have to imagine we're going to see a discard. There we go. Metal Energy is discarded. I'm going to draw a couple cards off that Concealed Cards ability. There is no path in play. There's no anything to shut the ability off there. So just going to find a Quick Ball, discarding a Burbank City. I think that's a Burbank City. I'm not actually certain. Discarding a Stadium card. I don't remember seeing Burbank City in the deck list. Don't think there is one. I've just confirmed there is not, in fact, a Burbank City deck list. That is not a Burbank City. That is Dimension Valley. I apparently can't identify the card too easily. Go figure. Yeah, so Burbank City not in the deck. That is, in fact, Dimension Valley. Ready. We are going to see a detour on that Jirachi. Going to go ahead and put a couple extra cards in the Lost Zone. Again, this deck, Lost Link Box, not so concerned about taking knockouts this early in the game. It just kind of chills, does what it wants to do to set up. Play some Colorless Experiment, play some detours, get some cards off of the knockouts when Jirachi gets knocked out. Just chills, just sets up. We do see a Dowsing Machine come down on the Darkrai side, discarding the Darkrai GX and the Dark Patch. All right, interesting. Getting in. So you know what? My hand sucks. Let's try this again. Fair enough. The setup on the Darkrai side, a little slow, unfortunately. But that's okay, because Lost Link Box is pretty slow. But maybe it won't be okay later. We'll find out. Both players shuffling up, grabbing their new 6 cards. All right, we got the 6, and what do we got on the Darkrai side? We do have a Zoroark. Zoroark comes out to play. Hello, Zoroark. We do see the Darkrai come down. A little interesting. I would have liked to see its ability used. Just discard that way. That's okay. We do see another Zorua come down. Zora, of course, going to be another Zoroark when that becomes available. Just going to get that draw going. Making decisions here. You're going to draw off the Zoroark, discarding a Nest Ball, getting an Ultra Ball and a Darkness Energy. Playing the Ultra Ball? What is that? Yeah, playing the Ultra Ball, discarding 2 Darkness Energy. Have to imagine one of those is going to come down on that Moltres. Getting the Darkrai V-Star and evolving the active Darkrai V. Still nothing that's going to do any knockouts on the Lost Link Box side, so that's probably a safe move. Lost Link Box does have 6 cards in the Lost one at the moment, so that's a little concerning. You see the V-Star power come down, and we get both Trainer's Mail and Dark Patch back. Dark Patch, Trainer's Mail first. Trainer's Mail, looking at a few cards, making choices based on what's in the hand. Going with, I think the choices are Luxury Ball, Ultra Ball, and not choices. Versus Seeker. Okay, going versus Seeker. Interesting. So we'll be able to pull another supporter card back from the discard pile with versus Seeker. Right now, I think the only one in there is in, so that would be another in for next turn. Not sure why the versus Seeker had the discard pile. Interesting. That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, we see a versus Seeker down the other side. I still don't understand why Darkrai player discarded the other versus Seeker. They got it off Trainer's Mail, showed that they got it, and then discarded it. I'm thoroughly confused. Okay, sure. Interesting. I just don't understand why that happened. And then just their opponent let them do it too. I don't understand. Okay. He figured it out. He's like, wait, that doesn't go there. All right, that makes me feel a little better. I'm like, that's where does versus Seeker go? That means why? Yeah, sure. All right. So it looks like we're seeing some Radiant Greninja spam there, getting some draw for Radiant Greninja, and then going to Detour. All right, so we're seeing that detouring using copying the colorist that was versus Secret earlier. That's fine. So playing the colorist earlier, now detouring that colorist, getting some extra cards in Lost Zone. I do think this puts them up to 10 cards in Lost Zone. So this can very much be the start of some shenanigans. Do you see the Darkrai players start their turn, touching a Darkness Energy to Darkrai, and then dropping. Is that Altar of the Moon? I believe that's Altar of the Moon. Let me double check their deck list. It turns out I don't have their deck lists memorized, but I do have them on my computer, and I can look them up. That is, yes, that is Alter the Moon. Alter the Moon reduces the retreat cost of Pokemon. Believers in Pokemon. Sorry, I am stumbling over my words. It reduces the retreat cost of Pokemon that have Darkness or Psychic Energy attached to them by 2. So, good effect. Drawing some cards off that trade ability on Zoroark. Do you see the Dark Patch come down, attaching another energy to the bench of Darkrai V-Star? And what is the choice? Gonna take a knockout, maybe? I do believe they have. Yeah, they have the energy on the bench one. Gonna go ahead and put it in the active spot so they can take the knockout. Do the knockout on Jirachi. Jirachi going to use its Poke Power so the Lost Link box player can just find whatever card they want in their deck. I have to imagine that's probably going to be like a Mirage Gate at this point, just to accelerate some energy onto a Mew. If they don't have Mew available to them, maybe they'll grab a Mew. Maybe they have a Mirage Gate in hand. Who knows? We'll find out here in a little bit. Find out what the choice is. Do you see that portrait Smeargle in the Lost Zone? The Zorbox player, or the Darkrai box player going to what? All right. Putting another Jirachi in the active spot. Drawing card start turn and throwing down a Mew Prime right away to get that Lost Link going. Touching a Darkness Energy to the Mew. And probably dropping Mirage Gate. Let's see. Raihan. Dropping Raihan onto the board. Attaching a Water Energy to Mew. Maybe getting a Mirage Gate now? Question mark? Yes, there's the Mirage Gate. Mirage Gate, you're familiar with it. If you've got 7 cards in the Lost Zone or more, you can search your deck for 2 different energy, basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in play, however you feel like. So we do see 2 energy come from the deck and be attached to that Mew. Mew, of course, Mew Prime has only 60 HP, but it does also have I believe free retreat, which is pretty nifty. And that attack copying thing's pretty good. So we're going to see it copy and attack this turn. We do see the Lost Vacuum come down and Kyogre go to the Lost Zone via that Lost Vacuum. Primate Wisdom, trading a card from the hand to the deck. And we are going to see Mew copying Kyogre. So we're going to sweep the board with a bunch of damage there and knock out that poor bench Zorua. Never got a chance to grow up. But we do see, like I said, a bunch of damage come down on the Zoroark Darkrai player's side. It's like 80 on all of those Pokemon. No bench barrier for the Darkrai player. So just going to go in with a trainer's mail. Make a choice. What we got? Go in with Versus Seeker. Very solid choice. Versus Seeker is a good card. Very, very good card. One I would personally like to see back. However, people feel like I just want to watch the world burn. So take that as you will. We do see energy attachment on that benched Darkrai, making sure it has energy enough to attack. Is that 3? Looks like 3 Versus Seeker in hand. Wow. Got enough Versus Seeker, my guy. All right. Shuffling up with that Cynthia, getting 6 new cards. Trying to make this turn happen. Starting to realize he's on a bit of a clock. That Kyogre will be a problem. Gonna go with Ultra Ball, discarding a Professor Sycamore and a Darkness Energy to get a Galarian Moltres. This is a Galarian Moltres from Evolving Skies. It lets you put 2 energy from your hand to it when you play it down from your hand. Yeah, so you play it from your hand to your bench, and then if you have 2 Darkness Energy in your hand, you can attach those to your Moltres. That's how that works. Good stuff. Take the knockout there. Got that Mew down. 4 energies to go with it. Now the Lost Link box player has to figure out what to do next. Gonna Clover's Experiment and just dig. Dig. Find hopefully what they're after. Didn't think I saw a Mew Prime in that hand. I sent a escape rope to the Lost Zone, so not entirely sure. There is a Mew Prime because that just got played down, so that's good. That deck's looking mighty thin though. We'll see. Primate Wisdom coming down, digging a little further. And Super Rod, realizing some of these cards need to go back. Choosing which energies to send back, I have to imagine. Not super concerned with the Pokemon necessarily. Choosing Darkness, Metal, and Water, all going back to the deck there. And then going to Mirage Gate, a couple of them back out. Touching 1 and then 2. That Mew. That deck looks really scary thin. I wonder if this game ends in a deck out. That would be hilarious. Don't remember that happening, but man, that would be so sad and funny at the same time. Do see a concealed cards come down, that metal energy going to the discard pile, drawing a little further. Gotta find more energy attachments for that Mew. Just not finding it, unfortunately. So do see a Guzma gusting up that Mew and just shutting it down immediately, saying, you know what? No, I'm not going to let you take that Mew and smack me with it again. We're going to make that Mew go down before you get that chance. All right, Mew goes down, and the energy once again goes down with it. Unfortunate for Lost Link Box, but that is how it works. There's like maybe 6-7 cards in there total, not max. Not a lot, but there's something. And I think, okay, as Zelf comes down, take on the prize cards, see if there's something that can fish out. And there's a concession. All right, Lost Link Box player realizing, you know what, I don't have the seam left to go any further. I'm gonna scoop. And there we have it. There's round 1. All right, United Wings versus Goodra. This is going to be an interesting matchup. United Wings in Eternal is scary fast, but Hisuian Goodra V-Star has some tricks of its own, so it's not going to be without some serious power. All right, first we have United Wings. So, of course, you have your 4/4/4 United Wings attackers. Those, of course, being Flamigo, Murkrow, and Wattrel. Those are given. You need to be able to attack with at least one of them or to copy their attack in some way, shape, or form. Of course, we have the Mew from Fates Collide to copy the attack of a basic Pokemon in play, be that Flamigo, Murkrow, or Wattrel. Of course, you need the necessary energy to attack, so you do have some darkness energy and some double colorless energies to do that copying. You also have Marshadow GX to copy the attack of basic Pokemon in your discard pile. And since the United Wings guys are natural residents of the discard pile, you will, of course, be doing that. This deck, of course, is very much a gotta go fast. So Squawkabilly and Battle Compressor are going to be your guys for that. Squawkabilly, of course, allows you to discard your hand and draw 6 cards only on your first turn. But you really want it on your first turn, so that's fine. Battle Compressor allows you to search for 3 cards from your deck and discard them. So that could be 3 Murkrow, 3 Wattrel, 3 Flamigo, some mix of the 3. Just go fast, right? Acrobike, look top 2, discard 1, put 1 to your hand. Hue, both players draw or discard until they have 5 cards in their hand. You have Parallel City to push your Squawkabilly and your Marshadow into the discard pile if needed. Or maybe you need a United Wings in the discard pile. That could also be a way to do it. You have options, right? You can go fast. Now, this deck list also happens to be legally expanded, by the way. So if you want to play that, there's that. Anyway, now, next up, we also have Hisuian Goodra V-Star. Hisuian Goodra V-Star does not look all that crazy. And with a few changes, you know, it could probably be made standard legal, right? You've got Melanie, you've got Lapras. Lapras is basically just Luminion, right? So you change that out. Your Get Lost Giraffe Rig is important for some matchups in Eternal, but maybe not so important in Standard. Decklist is, you know, it's good, right? It's got some extra tools from Eternal to play with. And you got the Lapras to get your supporter card. You got Guzma and Hollow to find your Double Dragon Energy. That's the real spice, right? Double Dragon Energy, of course, is going to be basically any color energy times 2, right? And only when attached to Dragon Pokemon. So Hisuian Goodra V and V-Star both happen to be Dragon Pokemon, which means that they get that bonus when it's attached. So they get almost instantly powered up that way. And then if you have Melanie access via Melanie itself or Versus Seeker, which this list, of course, does not play, which is very interesting, then you can just, you know, accelerate. Pretty good stuff. Then we have access to the Leafy Camo Poncho to prevent cards being gusted up, specifically a Goodra that's trying to power itself up. Floatstone, you have Crystal Cave to heal some energy. The ace spec in this deck, of course, is Gold Potion, because you heal, and you have Lotus Fishing Rod to put the tools back into the deck, right? Maybe you need Leafy Camo Poncho again, or you need Big Charm again, or even Floatstone. Throw them back in there and get them back. But said, we have our decks now for round 2. Let's see it. All right, as our players get shuffled up here, just going to quick reminder, this is United Wings going up against Hisuian Goodra V-Star. This should be a pretty uphill battle for United Wings. Even if United Wings really pops off, Goodra just sponges so much damage that United Wings is going to have a bit of an issue trying to get through that wall. You know, we have to try to do it before Gudra gets set up, and while they could both set up in like a turn or two, I feel like Gudra doesn't really need that much to set up. So this could be a problem. We'll see how this goes. All right. I'm going to see a trainer's mail right off the get-go. Going to fish out an Ultra Ball. Seems good. A little bit of a slow shuffle going there. All right. Do want to see something off of that player. Starting Marshadow is not the greatest, I will say. Definitely want to take that DTE or DCE there. That DCE is pretty good. Want that to attack later. Or not, I guess. Interesting. Battle Compressor is good. So Battle Compressor maybe. Not getting the Battle Compressor. Making interesting decisions in the deck here. Going for not the cards I would pick. How's that? Yeah. Again, unfortunately, starting Marshadow, not so great, but here we go anyway. Going to... I mean, I see a quick ball in hand. I see computer search. Okay, computer search is discarding 2 cards, getting a card. Any card. I will say this player borrowed this deck. This is one of my decks. So they're maybe not going to be making the best plays necessarily. They were unfamiliar with the deck at the time. Just be aware of that. So they are playing the Flamigo down, getting 3 Flamigo from the deck. 2 Flamigo from the deck, apparently. 1's priced, looks like. And then we're going to see Quick Ball getting rid of one of them to get a Squawkabilly, maybe? Okay. Pick something I would pick. That's good. All right, we're going to see another Quick Ball getting the Mew from Fate's Collide. I'm going to make sure that he's available. Got to make those copyings happen. Lots and lots of stuff on there. All right. Do have the hand. I think I'm just going to nuke it with Squawkabilly here. Yep. Just nuking it. Drawing 6 new cards off of the Squawk and Seize ability. Gonna see some more cards there. I see a Watchel in the hand that can be discarded with that Quick Ball. And a Hisuian Heavy Ball. So going off, 2, 3 United Wingsters in the prizes. Whew. All right, grabbed the last of the Flamigo out of the prize cards. Not entirely sure I agree with that. I think maybe I would have gone with Watchel or Murkrow, just because they could be rescue carried back if needed, but it's not that big a deal. All right, do you see a Murkrow and a Murkrow and a Watchel? So those are going to be going down via that compressor there. Battle Compressor says search your deck for 3 cards and just discard them. And you know what? Let's make this game faster by just nuking cards from our deck. That seems good. Gonna compress time. All right, we do see another Quick Ball come down. Discarding the Flamigo. Getting a Murkrow. Looking to see what United Wingsters they've got left in that deck. Ultra Balling a Watchel and a Murkrow. For a Watchel. All right, a little shuffle. Poor Gudra just sitting there going, am I going to have to sit here and watch you just play solitaire for a bit? Alrighty. Counting the United Wingsters there. This mechanic's been done a few times, if you can't tell. I think this is the most relevant version for this particular format. Big Net is everywhere, and it hits Big Net for weakness, so That's good. I should say everywhere, but it is a prevalent archetype. Therefore, you want to hit it for weakness. And hitting fighting weakness with Marshadow is also really good against Miraidon. So you do have some pretty good options. All right, Gudra finally gets to play. You see the Radiant Greninja come down off the nest ball. See the count of the United Wingzers. And a Gudra come down. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, Gudra coming down. Oh, actually, that nest ball was not for the Greninja. The nest ball was for the Gudra. I think the Greninja may have just been in hand and played down after the turn started. That's okay. We are going to see a quick ball, discarding that water energy, getting it ready for a Melanie later, I have to imagine. Digging for a card, a basic Pokemon card, that is. And I have to wonder what the choice is here. Maybe Oricorio to get it ready to heal off some damage. You don't have to worry about bench sniping, so no need to go after a bench barrier Pokemon. No real need for much of anything in terms of support. You don't want to get a Lapras off of this, so because that will just make it so you can't use the Poke Power. Oh, wait. This is not Nest Ball. Damn it, Sanders, you're ruining my head. This is a quick ball. You do want to get a Lapras because it didn't get a support card. That's way better. Apologies. A little bit of a brain melt there. All right, so looks like they got a Lapras. And they're playing Professor's Letter. The Professor's Letter is like a Capacious Bucket, but for any basic energies. So 2 of any basic energy in your deck, that becomes what you're searching for there. So in this case, it's Capacious Bucket because it's getting 2 water energy. But it's a little bit more flexible, and you really want that flexibility with Gudra because, of course, your deck doesn't just need the water energy. It also needs the metal energy for Gudra, so you do have that choice. Do you see him draw into a few more energy there? See an attachment, water energy on the benched Gudra. A little bit of straightening of the cards there. And all right, we're going to see the United Wingzer go a little further in their turn. Drawing a few energy and a Guzma and a Quick Ball and another energy. So not a bad hand there, actually. You do see a Darkness energy come down on the Marshadow, so Marshadow can copy one of the discarded Murkrow. I'm gonna go ahead and count up those United Wingers for us real quick. And damage is being dealt. All right. So we see a bit of a hit there. I can't quite tell the damage. Not enough to knock it out though, so it's fine. Looks like the Gudra player hesitating to evolve up that benched V. Interesting. I have to wonder why. Do you see a Guzman Hall in hand? That's a pretty good pick. Okay, going ahead and going to evolve the Gudra. It'd be interesting to get a tool, a stadium, just something that lets them switch into the benched Gudra and attach double dragon energy so that it's fully powered up against that Marshadow. Because Rolling Iron should do the trick here. It turns out Marshadow is a fairly squishy Pokemon. Yeah, Rolling Iron is going to do 200 damage. Marshadow only has like 150 HP. It's pretty weak. All right, we do see another Gudra come off that heavy ball. This is an actual heavy ball, not a Hisuian heavy ball. This is a heavy ball for real. So before Hisuian heavy ball says, search your deck for a Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 or more, reveal it and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So do you see a Melanie come down on the active? We do see a double Dragon Energy drawn off that card. That's pretty good. And Gudra's ready to attack. Nice. And we're going to see that Marshadow go down right away. See Fates Collide Mew go to the active spot, and a Acrobike is the top deck. See a DTE come down on the Mew so it can copy the Flamigo on the bench. And they're second guessing it. They're going to go ahead and Guzma up the benched Gudra instead. How? What's going on here? Why is the Mew still in the active spot? No? How is that not caught? That frustrates me. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. I think I understand what happened. So they Guzma'd into the other Mew and retreated their Mew. They just kind of showed it. Okay, good. It's fine. It's valid. It's fine. It's fine. I'm there right next to these guys for like 75% of the games. So like if something is missed, I get very frustrated with myself, but thankfully there is a solution, and it does seem like that's what's happened. So we do have a resolution there. We do have Double Dragon Energy come down on the active Gudra that was Guzman out to try to stall him out. And then we have the Big Charm come down to boost its HP up a little bit. We're going to see some healing with the Gold Potion and the Crystal Cave. That's pretty good to see. And Professor's Letter going back into the deck to find some more basic Pokemon, or basic energy cards. They're not Pokemon. They're energetic, okay? All right, so let's see 2 more water energy come down. Perhaps maybe one of them to use Radiant Grenage's concealed cards. Getting extra draw is always good. The good thing about Hisuian Gudra V-Star is it doesn't need to go very wide, so against decks like Banette, Houndoom, which still exists in this format, you don't have to worry necessarily about being wider than Houndoom. For those who are not aware, Houndoom was recently axed in a ban list update last month. So it was right after the August tournament. It went ahead and got the axe. It was determined that there just wasn't enough counterplay for Houndoom. And even if it didn't necessarily win the tournament, it was still too oppressive for the format. There are other ways to item lock in the format, like Vileplume, that are very effective as well. So item lock isn't gone. It's just Houndoom isn't just item lock. And Houndoom was one-sided, which made it really frustrating, especially seeing as you could not play any tool cards under it. So there was no way to use a cessation crystal to get out from under the lock. So you either were set up before Houndoom came down, so turn 1, or you just didn't run any item cards and only played a support card each turn. It was unfortunate. And then being slammed with Banette's attack each turn after being unable to play basically anything in your hand meant that you were pretty out of luck. But yeah, Banette is no longer, Houndoom is no longer a threat. Banette's still a deck. Banette and Vileplume are still are going to be best buddies, I think. We do see Hisuian and Heavy Ball come down for the for the United Wings player. That is the word I'm looking for. For the United Wings player, we're getting the Murkrow out. We're putting the Hisuian Heavy Ball back in the prize cards. Grabbing that Murkrow. Probably trying to find a way to slam that Murkrow down into the discard pile. Not sure how that's going to happen. We do see a Acrobike, discarding an Iono, getting a Ultra Ball. That's definitely a way to do it. Discard the Battle Compressor and the Murkrow. Murkrow, of course, yet another United Wingser to boost the damage by another 20. Probably still not quite enough, since Rolling Iron is basically just canceling that out by reducing it the damage that United Wings does by 80. So meh. Poor United Wings actually has to compete. What? This is what happens when people accidentally anticipate the meta. So we see a little bit of math here being done on the calculator, trying to figure out how much damage this Mew is doing. So Mew, of course, copying that Flamigo, doing some chip damage on that Gudra, but ultimately Gudra just does not care. And now we have 2 Oricorio on the bench to further heal the Gudra. The Crystal Cave did get bumped by Sky Pillar, so there is that. But the Oricorios are going to heal off 40 damage total. So 20 each. Oricori. Yeah. Ardent Dancing. Ardent Dancing says, once during your turn, you may heal 20 damage from your active evolution Pokemon. So, Gudra V-Star is an evolution Pokemon, so 20 apiece for each of those Oricorios. All right, now we're going to see the Ursa come down for an Iono trying to slow down the Gudra player just a little bit to save some of these United Wingsters and maybe come back. Fortunately, I do think Gudra is just in such a position with that rolling iron that the damage reduction is maybe just a little too much for United Wings to overcome. United Wings does some cool damage, does it pretty quickly, but Gudra says no a little faster. To see the United Wings player trying to make a choice about what to do here. It does appear they have no deck. So that is a thing. They did take a knockout, which is cool. But all they have to do is pass. All the Gudra player has to do is pass, and that's going to be game. Unfortunately for the United Wingser, that deck out just a little too much. All right, here in round 3, United Wings gets a little lucky and gets to come back again for another game. This time against Gardevoir. Be an interesting one for sure. We've already looked at United Wings, so we're kind of going to just skim through it real quick. You got the 3 attackers, you got the Marshadow, the Mew, Battle Compressor, Hugh. You know the drill. This is United Wings. You saw it in action last game. It draws so fast that it decked itself out. Hopefully it can avoid that this game. Gardevoir, on the flip side, is a very interesting deck. Definitely one of the more interesting decks I've seen in Eternal. Gardevoir says, you know what? There are lots of great Gardevoir cards in Eternal. Let's play with them. And it does, right? You have the Curlias with Refinement. You have the Teleportation Burst, Ralts. You have access to itself, of course, because it's Eternal format, so you can get your prized Pokemon out. So if you have a specific Gardevoir that you need, you can use its Time Walk Poke Power to get that particular. And then you have access to Gallade, so you can get your Buddy Catch and get your support going. You can use Shining Arcana to get some draw and some energy acceleration. Brainwave for an attack. You have the Gardevoir X, the Delta Species 1, the Fire type that has the Imprison marker that can shut off Poke Power with bodies. Gardevoir, of course, from current standard format with Psychic Embrace to accelerate energy. You have the energy doubling Gardevoir. You have Telepath Gardevoir. You have options. And the secret sauce that makes this deck tick so quickly and so well is, of course, Surprise Time Machine from Team Rocket Returns. Basically says they take the top evolution Pokemon off of a Pokemon you choose. So in this case, you might choose Gardevoir, for example, and you'll take that Pokemon off of the top and you'll put it in the deck and you'll find a Pokemon that evolves from the Pokemon that has remained in play. So let's say Curlia, and that Curlia will evolve into something else. And Surprise Time Machine says, all right, go find something that evolves from that. Well, a Gardevoir evolves from a Curlia, so we'll search for a different Gardevoir. And with that Gardevoir, we'll have some fun. So you just kind of, get your draw, get your Buddy Catch, switch out with something else, do something else. It's crazy. Surprise Time Machine is a crazy card. Surprisingly not broken. I think that's the biggest surprise for Surprise Time Machine. But it gives you really cool options with Gardevoir. It allows your deck to do things, as long as you're not item locked, of course, because Surprise Time Machine is an item. But United Wings doesn't do any item locking because it itself loves item cards. So let's have some fun with this one, shall we? All right, let's let our players get shuffled up and ready to play. This is, once again, United Wings returning to take on Gardevoir. Gardevoir, of course, having that surprise time machine to surprise us with some interesting gameplay. All right. You can see our players set up. So the Guardy player took a mulligan. And we're going. Let me go start on the United Wings side. United Wings looks like they've chosen. Did they choose? I'm not so sure now. All right, who's going first? Come on, guys. Someone make a play. All right, there we go. There's who's first. Guardy is first. Like we see an I'm not sure what that is. What is that going on? See a luxury ball, a mysterious treasure, and maybe another mysterious treasure. Can't quite make that out. When I'm doing this, my screen is significantly smaller than what you guys will see on the stream, so I don't quite see everything you guys do. Just keep that in mind. It does look like it's a 2 mysterious treasure and a luxury ball, though. We do see 3 routes come down. Getting that Guardy going. Definitely want to see those out as fast as possible and start running those surprise time machine shenanigans. All right. So we passed the United Wingser side and just immediately going in for the Hisuian Heavy Ball. I did not see a valid target there. Did they get something? They're just shuffling their prize cards already. I mean, I guess that's good for the United Wings player, right? They don't have to worry about pulling any other United Wingsers out of the prize cards. Yeah, nothing. Interesting. They are going to go with an Acrobike, getting a Trainer's Mail and a Squawkabilly. Choosing to keep Squawk, dumping the Acrobike. I think that's probably the wise choice there. Going with a Quick Ball, discarding an Ultra Ball. I think that's what they're doing. Gonna probably go, getting a Flamigo rather. Shuffling the deck. Playing down the Flamigo after shuffling the deck, a little obnoxious there, but it is what it is. Going to find the other 2 Flamigo and pull them out. And then an Ultra Ball, getting rid of the 2 Flamigos that were just pulled out. Getting a Mew. Gonna go back in maybe? Yeah, Battle Compressor this time. Let's go. You know what? I got some Murkrow here. They seem pretty tasty. I'll throw them in the discard pile. Kind of would have liked to seen those Murkrows stay. Or at least one of the Murkrows stay. I guess one still is in deck technically, but it would be nice to be able to hit some of the Guardies with that. Just, scare big Guardy. Although this build a Guardy obviously isn't very reliant on the big Guardy as an attacker. That is worth noting. But if it's out in play, that Murkrow becomes an extra big threat because it does hit for weakness. All right. And with that, I believe we're going to see a Squawk and Cease. Or are we going to see a Quick Ball? We're seeing one more Quick Ball. Getting Marshadow GX. That feels like not good. Definitely not something you want to have out against. Gardevoir is going to hit Marshadow for weakness, and you're not really at any advantage with the Marshadow. So I don't think that's ever a choice for this matchup. Marshadow is very good against Miraidon, which is a big part of why he's in there, because Miraidon is definitely a deck that sees play, but not good in anything else. All right, do you see the discard on the Wattrels? That is a Squawk and Seas, who would see a discard draw 6. See another battle compressor. Whew. Wattrel, and Wattrel are the birds of choice here. Gonna get down real thin real quick. Hopefully they manage not to deck themselves out this game. That would be cool. All right. I'm gonna preemptively play the Sky Pillar there. I don't know if this matchup really has any hostile stadiums to worry about, so it's probably fine. I do see a Hue. Hue is interesting. And it's interesting too, because all that, and they hadn't even played a supporter card. Wow. All right. So Iono going to draw a fresh 6 cards. After all of that, there's still more that can be done. Crazy. All right, they're gonna play the Marshadow down again. I don't like that choice. Don't think it's good in this situation here. They are gonna go ahead and use Trainer's Mail, grab themselves a Verse Seeker, and shuffle up. All right, Acrobike, choosing to grab the Ultra Ball this time. Already has a Verse Seeker in hand, and then going to go after another card maybe. Discarding a Guzma and a Professor's Research with the Ultra Ball. Pretty good pick there. Getting that Murkrow out and ready to go. Are going to the hand, probably not hitting discard pile just yet. But we are going to see that Ralts go to the discard pile with the attack United Wings. So Flamigo is going to take that knockout. There's some pointing going on. I'm not sure why. We do see Ditto Prism. Ditto Prism, amazing card. Would love to see that return. Unfortunately, I think we need to see the Prism Stars return for that. We do see a Mallow. Mallow allows you to change the top 2 cards of your deck to any card you choose, or any 2 cards you choose, rather, in any order. And then you just shuffle everything below that. So basically say, hey, I want this card and this card, and I can draw that off of Refinement. So let's set this up so I can draw exactly the 2 cards I want. The strategy was employed by Zoroark GX back in the day, and makes perfect sense that Gardevoir would want to play around with it in this particular format. Pretty good stuff. So I think this is when we're realizing that the United Wings player is already down to like 14 cards. Like, they've burned a huge chunk of their deck. I think it was me just counting it there, going, okay, what's left? They do have to be careful here, because just like that last game, if they're not careful, they'll deck themselves out again. Which I really hope they don't do. A little bit of shuffling going on. All right, Mallow goes back. Let's see an attachment on the Ralts. We're going to see Refinement for the 2 cards they want. We're going to see a Telepass, copying Iono from the discard pile. All right. We see a Surprise Time Machine to swap that out to a Curlia. So with the way Surprise Time Machine works, you're removing that top stage of evolution and then choosing a Pokemon that evolves from the Pokemon that's remaining in play. So since that Gardevoir was rare candied, it can't go be swapped out with another Gardevoir. It has to be swapped out with a Curlia. In this case, you're going to just get another Refinement. And we're going to get a second Refinement. So we're going to see the Mysterious Tail Mew from Celebrations come down. We see another Curlia also come down. We're going to see another Refinement. Discarding a second energy. And then Mysterious Tail. For a level ball. Do have to wonder what that level ball is going to grab. I do not believe the Ditto can evolve just yet, but a Ralts would not be horrible. They did shuffle, so maybe we're not going to play it just yet. We're going to see some second energy shenanigans, maybe? No, not just yet. Unfortunately, Gardevoir can't attack this turn, which is a little rough. I would like to have seen some sort of attack from Gardevoir. Nothing, unfortunately. All right. Night Wings goes back down, throws a Mew down, attaches Darkness Energy to it. All right, we see a Versus Seeker getting Iono. Yep. Grabbing that Iono back. And once again, shuffling and resetting their hand with Iono. Not the most awesome pulls there, but they are, they're decks. They're pulls from the deck. We do see another knockout on that Mew. So Guardy is kind of on a back foot at the moment. I have to wonder what the strategy is at this point. They need some sort of attacking going on, or they're kind of just going to fizzle. They're already 2 prize cards behind, and even as a single prizer, if they can... Okay, the Espeoxys would be a strategy. Espeon Deoxys, of course, spreads lots of damage counters if you meet certain conditions. So that could be a way to devastate the board for United Wings players. So basically what you would do is you would use Gardevoir to flood, and I mean flood, Espeon and Deoxys with energy on there. So you would need the Psychic Double Colorless just to get the attack powered up. That's Cross Division GX, by the way. Cross Division GX. So you have that base 3 energy cost. You're going to put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. But if you have 3 extra energies, so if you've got 6 on there, instead you're going to do 20 damage counters. So 20 damage counters against something like United Wings, that's 2 Mews, right? That's 2 Mews and a Wattrel and something, or that's a Mew and a Flamigo, or it's a lot of damage. You can even do the Squawk ability and then set up math on something else. It's devastating. Yes, it's a GX attack, but it's still very good. Right. So Mala once again controlling those top decks. You see a Brainwave Gardevoir. It's a Shining Arcana. Look at the top two cards, and then Accelerating Psychic Energy. Making choices about how to get that Gardevoir in the active spot. We do see the energy doubling Gardevoir come down. So that basically means every basic energy card that you're seeing in play right now is now like doubled up. It's all kind of it's a mirage, if you will. So there's an energy attachment to the active Gardevoir via Psychic Embrace. That allows it to retreat. So it's just enough energy to retreat because of the energy doubling. And then we see Brainwave in the active spot. So currently, Brainwave is attacking based on four energy being on that Gardevoir. So even though there are only two attached physically, because of the energy doubling, it's 4. I mean, even the base damage is enough to knock out basically anything at this point. So there you have it. We do see that Marshadow in the active spot, and with that weakness, that is going to be quite a devastating KO here in just a moment. Do like that Parallel City, though. That's going to be spicy. All right, we see an Azelf come down. The guard player is choosing to get that. They suspect they think one of their Gardevoirs is prized. Or no, rather. They know it's prized at this point. They're making a note of their prize cards. Using Time Walk, lets you just look at them and see, okay, is there a Pokemon I want here? Cool. Think of Time Walk as like a super version of Hisuian Heavy Ball, right? Hisuian Heavy Ball makes you get a basic Pokemon. Time Walk says, you know what? Just get a Pokemon and then put a card from your hand there. Seems fine. All right, so Gardevoir is doing 120, 180 plus weakness. That's quite a lot of damage. There's 30 for each energy attached. You have 4 energies attached. 60, 120 plus 60 is 180 times 2. That Marshadow was very, very dead. Used Parallel City to nuke his bench a little bit, making some choices about what to knock down. Gonna get rid of the Flamigo. I disagree with that completely. I would have gotten rid of Squawkabilly. That seems like a very bad play. Squawkabilly is not needed at the moment, and the Flamigo would have been a good attacker. Not liking that, but that's okay. Going after the Gardevoir in the active spot. Just getting some damage on there. A decent amount of damage, I will admit, but yeah, this could be interesting. All right, so we're discussing something, not quite sure what. I know the Gardevoir player at this point was a little frustrated with their play. They might be explaining their misplay. Unfortunate situation here. And this is, I would say this applies to anyone. If you make misplays, that's fine. Accept that they were made, and then basically try to find a way to save the game. Because sometimes, like, you'll want to beat yourself up because you made what you feel is a game-ending misplay. But if you just play it out, just let your opponent, see how well you can play after that misplay and try to come back from it, you can still win. Sometimes your opponent will misplay too. Sometimes, the RNG won't be in their favor and you will be able to, skirt by with that mistake. And then later on, you can say, you know what? I made the mistake. I get it. It's not great, but they managed to make it happen. And if you didn't make it happen, you know what, that's fine too. But at least you tried, right? At least you just like, you know what, I do think that I misplayed, but I'm not gonna make that misplay again. Do you think? Okay, so we're gonna see a mysterious treasure for the telepass. Telepass is going to copy something. I'm not sure what just yet. We do see a Mallow come down. Mallow trying to fix the top deck here, make it exactly the cards that the Guardy player wants. I don't know how they're going to. Oh, they're playing. They're the Shining Arcana still. Although they've already used Shining Arcana, it looks like, because it's still tilted. So I'm not sure how they're going to draw that. I do think that might be an issue. I think Guardy's about to scoop here. A little bit premature, I think, but they are. Yeah, yeah. They've felt themselves defeated, and they're not going to continue. I think. Yeah, they're scooping it up. Unfortunate end to game 3. Unfortunate end to that round. All right, it is time for the finals. Bennett Houndoom versus Hisuian Gudra V-Star. I will state for the record, Bennett Houndoom is no longer a deck in Eternal. As mentioned earlier, the Houndoom from Unseen Forces is now banned as of an August ban list update for the format. That said, Bennett does still exist as a deck. It just plays with Vile Plume now instead of Houndoom. The deck is still around. It's just changed a bit. But for this tournament, Houndoom was not yet banned. So card's still there. Lonesome is an extraordinarily strong Pokebody. Says if you have fewer Pokemon in play than your opponent does, they don't get to use anything in terms of trainer cards except for supporters, which is really strong. Very, very strong. So not a whole lot of counterplay for that, unless, like Hisuian Gudra V-Star can, you could go narrow. If you're not going wide and you have a small bench, you're not as concerned about Houndoom's lonesome Pokebody. So Gudra just happens to be able to go narrow, which means this is not an awful matchup for Gudra. Every other deck here at the tournament today was like, no, I don't want to go against Houndoom. But Gudra gets to meet in the finals. Let's watch. All right, it is game 1 of the finals. Bennett Houndoom versus Hisuian Gudra V-Star. Bennett is mulliganing there. All right, and now we have a start. Let's go. Okay, Hisuian Gudra V-Star is going first, drawing water energy off the top of their deck there. Choosing to attach to the active. This player is very cognizant of the fact that Bennett Houndoom is quite a threat. That Houndoom, of course, shuts off the access they have to any trainer card that's not a supporter card if they have more Pokemon in play than the Houndoom player. Good thing is, like I said earlier, Gudra can go narrow. Bad thing is, Houndoom's partner, Bennett, has Poltergeist, and Poltergeist does a lot of damage if you have trainer cards in your hand. So if the Gudra player gets themselves locked, that could be a big issue. The Bennett has Poltergeist, so Poltergeist 60 times does 60 damage for each trainer card you find in your opponent's hand. That can really hit hard if you're locked. You'd be locked out of items, you're locked out of trainer, or out of items slash what used to be called trainer or item cards. You're locked out of tool cards, you're locked out of stadium cards, you're locked out of TM cards. There's not very many of those, but you're locked out of those too. Yeah, it's rough. All right, immediately going in for the coin flip there, trying to get an item lock off. See Guzma and Hala, discarding a Guzma and Hala, and thing maybe. We're seeing something else discarded. Seeing a quick ball discarded. So going to go ahead and grab themselves. I'd have to imagine they're grabbing a double dragon energy. Crystal Caves. They'll heal off that damage from the Shuppet and then evolve up and attack. Take out that Shuppet pretty quickly. They're getting double dragon energy, crystal caves, and a float stone. Float stone probably for a Pokemon that we don't see just yet. All right. Double dragon energy does come down on the active Goodra. We see an Ultra Ball discarding the baby Goodra, or the V, not technically the Goodra. Not technically the baby, rather. And a float stone. She's saying, you know what? Let's just get rid of the float stone. I need Goodra more. And choosing to evolve. Now they'll be able to knock out that Shuppet and start getting some damage reduction. The Shuppet does go down, takes the Goodra player takes the prize card. Shuppet goes into the active spot. So Shuppet being replaced by Shuppet, which is something. And that Shuppet can evolve, which is also something. If I remember right, the Bayonet player in this game decided to go very heavy on trying to keep the Goodra player item locked with Bayonet's Everlasting Darkness attack. I think that's the strategy they tried to go with. I don't remember how well that really worked. See a computer search. I have to believe they're computer searching to just get the Bayonet or an energy. Because they don't have, I don't think they have either right now. Green's Exploration. Okay, that'll work. Green's Exploration can get the Evolution Incense and an energy search or a Professor's Letter, and that will do the trick. There we go. So Professor's Letter and energy search. That gets both an energy to use Everlasting Darkness and the Bayonet itself to evolve that Shuppet in the active. Cool. Energy search. Keep saying energy search. Professor's Letter. It's a double energy search, okay? Is that good? It's twice as good as energy search. All right, we do see the evolution. It's an attachment to the active spot. It does get the one energy needed to use Everlasting Darkness, which will put the Goodra player in item lock. So they've taken 30 damage from Everlasting Darkness and are now item locked. That means they cannot play any item cards from their hand during this turn because of Everlasting Darkness. The Crystal Caves take effect, reducing damage on that Goodra. And Goodra's attacking right off the bat. Gonna do a good 200 damage to that Bayonet. I know words. We see Green's Exploration come down again. Getting a quick ball, looks like. And a field blower. Interesting. I'm going for a level ball and a field blower. Getting another Shuppet down. They're pretty sure the Minette's going down this turn. Field blowing both Crystal Caves and that Leafy Camo Poncho. That Goodra can no longer hide. I do see I wonder. Just realizing they're putting 30 damage on that Goodra, but I'm pretty sure that Goodra's using Rolling Iron to reduce damage. So, I'm not sure what's going on there. We do see a level ball come down. There it is. As I say, why are they floating the level ball? Or why are they floating? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Level ball goes down to get the Lapras, which get the greens. Lapras is support navigation. I'm going to find a supporter card. Maybe. Making some counts in their hands there. Trying to figure out what they need to do. Playing the Lapras, getting Clara, it looks like. are going to allow them to get 2 energy and 2 Pokemon from their discard pile and put those in their hand. They're choosing to shuffle their deck, so they won't be going back in. Gonna get Bayonet and a Shuppet, a Psychic Energy, and that's it. That's all that's available, so that's all they can get. They will attach, or not attach, they will bench the Shuppet and then do an attachment to the active. All right. So Gudra's getting KO'd by Poltergeist. I have to imagine that's what that is. We do see another Gudra come down and evolve up. See a Quick Ball go down and discarding a Nest Ball with that Quick Ball. Going after Lapras. Gotta use that support navigation to find a supporter of choice. Has to be Melanie. Only can be Melanie, I think, at this point. And pray that they find a Double Dragon Energy off of Melanie. Get that attachment to get Rolling Iron going as quickly as possible. Using a Nest Ball. Finding nothing. They're just gonna shuffle instead of taking something. Interesting choice, but I mean, you gotta thin your hand sometimes. Throwing support navigation down, playing the Melanie, and shuffling again. And we see Melanie come down. So we are going to see the Melanie attachment to the Suing Guja in the active spot. Do we see a Double Dragon Energy? Doesn't look like it. We're going to see another Nest Ball. Maybe grabbing a Greninja. Just trying to keep digging. Gotta find something. Professor's Letter getting a couple energy out of the deck to make use of that Radiant Greninja. It's really desperate to find something at this point. If they don't find Double Dragon Energy, they're in kind of a world of hurt. They need to reduce the attack damage as much as possible on that Banette. And then you do some damage to the Banette to get ahead or to actually get the prize cards they need to win. Well, there's that too. Get some extra shuffling off on the side, it looks like. All right. The Banette player choosing to go ahead and shuffle the deck instead of just cutting. Going after an Evolution Incense. Not sure what they're fighting right now or what they're aiming for. Looking for something though. To imagine they're kind of assessing their choices with regard to what they have available to them to get that Double Dragon. But they have passed. They found they were not able to find the Double Dragon. They were not able to get the attack off this turn. It's very unfortunate for the Gudra. See a second Banette come down on the bench. And Banette is just choosing to keep an item lock, which is peculiar. I don't know that I agree with that choice of action. Like, I get not wanting to let your opponent use item cards, because that's kind of what Houndoom does mostly. But like, I feel like it's just better to take the knockout, because like they have a hand with cards in it that's probably got some trainers in it. Like, worst case scenario, you're gonna do like 240 damage minus the 80. Like, you're gonna do damage. They may not be locked, but you still need to take prize cards. All right, you see a Quick Ball coming down, maybe? It's weird too, because Banette's gone so wide this game. But they're going wide, I think, because they feel comfortable with the item lock on the Banette. They fished out Banette from the prizes. going to make a choice what card to play here. The Lapras does appear to be stuck in the active spot. Yep. Passed on to the Goodra player playing Bird Keeper. The stall did not work. So unfortunately, that Double Dragon energy did come out this turn. Lapras is a goner, and that's going to be a knockout, I think. Because they can't really do any other sort of gusting. They have played Bird Keeper this turn. They're going to go ahead and go into the deck, though, and see about getting a friend. Getting an Oricorio. At this point, they're still smaller benched than the Bennett player. Bennett has gone very wide, which is very atypical of Bennett. Just not usually how Bennett plays. You see 2 more energy coming out of the deck via Professor's Letter. Going to make that Radiant Greninja a little bit more valuable. Also allows you to maybe get some other energy attachments as necessary. All right. Feel like just going for the knockout, not even using the concealed cards there. That's fine, I guess. All right, so we do see. I guess that makes sense, right? You want to try to use the item while you have the option. Burn it out of your hand so you don't get hit as hard by Poltergeist. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. If the Bennett player will use Poltergeist like they should, then it'll do less damage. You see a First Seeker come down, getting a Green's Exploration. Green's Exploration, search the deck for 2 trainer cards and put them into your hand. You can only use this card, though, if you have no Pokemon in play with abilities. So even though Houndoom is in play, even though Zelf is in play, they don't have abilities. They have Pokepowers or Pokebodies. They are different from abilities, and in Eternal, that difference does matter. It means abilities, things that activate, or things that interact with abilities, things that interact with Pokebodies and Pokepowers and Pokemon powers, they interact differently, right? So Green's Exploration says you don't have any abilities in play, so you're fine. But if either of those had an ability instead of a Pokepower or a Pokebody, it'd be game over. Green's Exploration would be a dead card. This is why you can't play a card like, Bench Barrier Mew in Bennett, because it would just shut down Green's Exploration. It shuts off your whole engine. That is a Poltergeist. Not a whole lot of damage there. Unfortunately, very much reduced by the Rolling Iron. Or unfortunately for Bennett, that is. Not unfortunately for Goodra. You're going to see another hit with that Goodra. At this point, the Goodra player has locked themselves. So the Houndoom now is active. The bench on the Goodra player is wider, but the Goodra player feels like this is a good play, right? So even if that Goodra goes down, and it probably will go down, you're guaranteeing that that Goodra on the bench is going to be available to evolve up and become a Goodra V-Star to potentially do damage next turn. But that's getting smacked a little bit. Let's see, another Versus Seeker looks like. Again, Green's Exploration again. Green's Exploration again. Super strong card. Definitely wanting that. Not sure which choices they're going with, but let's go with something. Needs a way to get that Bennett out of the active spot if he doesn't want it KO'd. There is a Bennett on the bench that can take a hit. Getting a Muscle Band and a Float Stone. So just 2 tool cards off of the Green's Exploration. Float Stone probably for the active. Yep, and then the Muscle Band for the bench. Makes sense. Gonna swap those guys out. All right. So Poltergeist not doing a ton of damage there. You see that Radiant Grid into concealed cards, discarding the water energy and drawing 2 more water energy. It's a flood. All right, but what can the Goodra player do? Get a little bit of damage off that Goodra in the active. Basically put it back down to nothing. And then did some damage. A Bennett is now near knockout. So at this point, either Bennett knockout will take the game. Bennett has, looks like 4 prize cards left. Choosing to retreat that Bennett in the active spot. Throwing the Azelf out. Interesting choice. Saying I need some way to win and I don't have it yet. So we're going to do this. I do see a Faba in the hand. That's very interesting. Is that a Faba in the hand? Yeah, Faba, and I think a Guzma too. It could have been good to gust up the Goodra V on the bench and try to stall it out. Even if you don't knock it out, they don't have much of a choice for getting it powered up. Certainly not in one turn. All right. Choosing to Lost Zone the Double Dragon Energy. Goodra player just needs 1 more prize card to win. Or Corey getting some work. Doing some work. Needs to find Double Dragon to win. We can find a Versus Seeker or Double Dragon itself. Before using Iono, a Guzman Hollow would do it. Either at this point, he now has to draw off of the Iono. So 1 card is not great. I can't quite tell what that card is. It's very unfortunate. So we do maybe have another turn for the Houndoom player to make a comeback. But that Houndoom just being a menace like usual. Attaching Horror Psychic Energy to the benched Bayonet. That puts a Muscle Band and a Horror Psychic Energy on there. Not quite enough for an attack on that one. The Guzma option does not exist at the moment. Except I guess you could. I think Bennett has a 1 retreat cost. You could theoretically. It has a 2 retreat cost, so no, that's definitely not a thing you can do. So gusting up the Lapras and item locking. I just don't. Is that really what it is? Or is that just a? Oh, that's a 1. No, that was Poltergeist, maybe. Or 60. Not even a knockout on Lapras. It does mean that the Goodra player is going to have a little bit of a harder time finding that top deck busted. Top deck Double Dragon Energy for going into game 2. So game 1 over, Goodra takes it. Getting that busted top deck. Took a couple extra turns, but there you have it. All right, let us begin game 2 of the finals. So far, Goodra is up 1 game over Bayonet. Let's see if this game will go for Bayonet or if it will go for Goodra. Bennett played the last game a little weird, going pretty wide and favoring item lock instead of poltergeist. But we will see how this game goes. All right, starting Azelf and Gudra. Getting a Shuppet down with Battle VIP Pass. And another Shuppet. Curious they did not choose to get a Houndour, which is different. I have a level ball, I guess, which is what they're gonna go. So they're going wide again, which is so weird. You have an Azelf in the active, you're not gonna get it knocked out. Why would you? Whatever. Like with Bennett Hounding, you need to go as narrow as possible, where you're just kind of. All right. And Gudra can just go so narrow too, which is really, it's just suffocating for Bennett Houndoom because it's not used to having an opponent that can go narrow too. All right, so we see a nest ball for Gudra. Gudra's probably grabbing another Gudra if I had to guess, just to have a backup. Checking their prize cards real quick. Making the assessment that maybe it's safe to grab a certain card. Looking at grabbing an Oricorio. Peeling off that chip damage. Nope, not going to do that. Getting the Gudra after all. So 2 Gudra down. Making sure that there are 2 ready to go throughout the whole game. If one gets KO, the other one's available. An active attachment is good. That's one step of the way. Obviously, not going to be doing a whole lot of attacking this turn. Not with Rolling Iron, at least. Thinning the deck with Professor's Letter, getting a couple of energy out so they're not in the deck, not going to draw into them this next turn. One less thing to worry about, increasing your chances ever so slightly of getting double dragon energy instead. Choosing to discard a card with Quick Ball to search for a basic Pokemon. Going to go ahead and just dump water energy for that. Grabbing Support Navigation Lapras. Pretty good. In theory, the Gudra could attack. Although, I do believe that water energy was a manual attachment, so that's not going to happen, I guess. All right, Bennett's ready to go. Green's Exploration. Green's Exploration going to have to get probably a Float Stone and Evo Incense. So Bennett eyeing up that Float Stone. Float Stone going to go down in the active Evolve to get it out of the active spot. Evolution Incense going to find the Bennett to evolve it up and get it attacking. Get some chip damage in on that Gudra before it evolves up. And before an Oricorio comes down to start healing all that chip damage off. You see a muscle band on the bench Bennett, so that will be doing 50 instead of 30 with Everlasting Darkness. So it's less sneeze worthy, if you will. I'm gonna see. We're gonna see something. Radiant Greninja goes down on the bench, opening up concealed cards play here. I do see an Evolution Incense, so we will get a Gudra V-Star this turn, I think. The question is whether or not we're going to be able to see the double dragon energy that the Gudra needs to power itself up. Guzman Hala would be really good. There is that Lapras available. So yeah, Lapras support navigation, probably for Guzman Hala. Guzman Hala is going to be a very good choice at this moment. Going to guarantee that double dragon energy for Gudra. Choosing instead to go for Iono. Interesting. Not entirely sure why. Maybe the Guzman Halas are prized. Not even going to choose to play. See, I would have. I don't know if I like this choice. So I would have probably gone for Guzman Hala, assuming they're not prized. Gotten the with Guzman Hala, I would have, well, before Guzman Hala, I would have Illusion Incense for the V-Star and then Guzman Hala for the Double Dragon. I feel like that's fine. I mean, it seems to be working out, but there's still no double dragon energy. So I don't know if it is actually working out. No, what's a pass? Yeah. Because he had evolution incense in hand, so that would have guaranteed a hit. Me no lucky. All right. They also didn't even attach for a turn, which meant that they burned their energies for nothing, effectively. Yikes. All right. Professor's letter on the Bennett side, going to search for a couple of basic psychic energy. The Houndour, or Houndoom rather, is in play at the moment. Both players have the same number of bench Pokemon. So that's not going to be in effect, but it is a threat now. All right, now you can't play anything down without turning on Houndoom's full wrath. That lonesome Pokebody. I believe that Bennett has Muscle Band and Psychic Energy attached. So right now, Everlasting Darkness is all it could do. Now that it has so it's a Horror Psychic Energy and a Psychic Energy now. So 2 energy are attached to it. So it can now use Poltergeist to try to take a knockout on this Goodra. Another advantage to that Guzmahala play last turn would have been to thin your hand down, discarding some of those trainer cards to prepare yourself for the Poltergeist. Just thinking of that too. I'm sure there was some reason the player didn't make that play, but I don't know. That's probably what I'd have done in their shoes. There's a Guzmahala, so it was in the deck for sure, it looks like. Discarding a Nest Ball. And Professor's Letter. Getting Double Dragon. One I would have loved to have seen last turn. Getting Leafy Camo Poncho. I have to imagine that'll go on the benched Goodra. Seems good. All right, see the attachment. Now we have the energy necessary. Leafy Camo Poncho is going on the active. Interesting. Floatstone going on the bench. All right. So now we can use the Rolling Iron after healing off a little bit of damage with the Crystal Cave. All right, so doing that 200 damage with Rolling Iron, that's pretty good. See a top deck of a Bennett, Shuppet going down, going really wide, and I don't understand why. The only thing I can think of is he just doesn't really care about the lock because Gudra's going so narrow, but like, I don't know, it feels weird. All right, Green's Exploration. Getting what though? The Professor's Letter's already been played, so that's not an option. There is a Faba and Computer Search. Maybe? Computer Search could get an energy. That would be a decent choice to start powering up that bench Bayonet. Because the active is definitely getting just knocked out this next turn, I have to imagine. Getting a Versus Seeker. Okay. And maybe just prepare for another greens, maybe? All right. Making a choice. Probably going to attack with the ability or the item lock attack, Everlasting Darkness. Seeing just one card in your opponent's hand is pretty dismaying, as Bennett. Choosing to retreat. So the bench one does already have an energy on it. I missed that earlier. That's good news, I guess. But he's already attached for turn, right? So all he can do is Everlasting Darkness for 30. But not even 30, really. That should be nothing. Because the Rolling Iron should be reducing damage. Not sure why there's damage counters on there. All right, Goodra once again going in with a big smack attack. Baba gonna... Oh, that's a phenomenal play. Okay, so I gotta explain what just happened there. I'm now very proud of the Goodra player because I understood what their play was there. All right, so last game, in game one, the Bennett player used Faba to send the energy to the lost zone, right? But when you do that, you're targeting the Pokemon and lost zoning energy attached to it. So Leafy Camo Poncho is going to say that the Pokemon that it's attached to is protected by protected from effects like that. So Faba is a supporter card, and Goodra is a V-Star Pokemon. So unfortunately for the Faba player there, the supporter card is played, but has no effect. Faba is just fizzled by Leafy Camo Poncho, which is pretty funny, I gotta say. Definitely makes sense that Leafy Camo Poncho went there to protect from that Faba play. Field Blower does go down a little late, unfortunately. Faba would have had to go in after that blower, but you live and learn. That's quite a play. That might actually change the whole course of the game. I mean, at this point, Gudra's doing pretty well. It's already got taken 2 prize cards. It looks it's a 4, so it's not doing too shabby. A Gust would be pretty good right here. Guzma would be phenomenal. There is energy already on that Gudra. Already a double dragon, already a water. Getting another V-Star. I'm gonna go ahead and evolve up that benched one to make it a little bit harder to knock out. Getting another V-Star, probably just to thin the deck, I have to imagine. Not really a reason to otherwise, but it does make sense. Thin it out. Improve your draw, improve your top decks in case of emergency Fabas. Faba not so nice. All right, did you see the evolution of the benched Gudra V into a Gudra V-Star? And an attachment of Big Charm to the active Gudra V-Star. So that is one chonky boy or girl in the active spot. I do see the knockout, not an ideal knockout, but it is a knockout and one step closer to the game. The net kind of struggling this game to do what it wants to do. Did you see Faba come back out using the Lost Zone? It should be Lost Zone. There we go. Lost Zone the Double Dragon energy. Kind of doing it just to spite at this point. I feel like it's maybe a little too late. Using computer search to search deck for something. Some sort of option. I see a horror psychic energy. I guess they're going to try to reattach to the bench spinet to get it ready to attack. Or, oh, they're going to, okay, yeah, that makes sense. They're going to attach to the other bench spinet, the one that I think already has some sort of energy attached to it. Or not. Maybe. What happened? I'm not sure. And the game to the other player, so just a pass, I guess. Unless, because there's no damage on it. But maybe they finally feel like rolling irons reducing the damage. I don't know. All right. Did you see another hit into the Bennets? This time the active Bennet is hurting. Or psychic energy goes down. Or psychic energy is a great card. All right. So Clara comes down, getting a Bennet and a Shuppet. 2 psychic energy. Another Shuppet goes down. Trying to prepare for next turn just in case of a fire, you know. At this point, Gudra just kind of has the answers. Gonna take a KO on that active Bennet, most likely. And then just win from there. Yeah, there's the KO on the active Bennet. Down to just 1 prize card remaining. Taking a little bit of chip damage from that horror psychic energy on the active Bennet. You see that the Shuppet evolve up into a Bennet. and have an energy attached to it. You see also a level ball. Searching for a Lapras. Lapras going to find Guzma. Have to wonder if they're trying for a Guzma Sol to try to win out here. I don't know if that's going to work though. So going in, okay, no. They're going to take a knockout that way. No, not a knockout. Yeah, they are trying to Guzma Sol. That's what they're doing. So the Lapras has a 2 retreat cost, and they're just going to use the Everlasting Darkness to do 30 damage, and then item lock. The item lock is in effect at the moment on the Gudra player's side, but it'll at least do some damage and hopefully buy the Banette player a turn to get rebuilt. At this moment, 1 prize card left is really hard to come back from. An Iono would be helpful, just something to prevent them from having what they need. Get them down to a really low top deck, or into top deck mode with a really low hand size. So it's just going to be a pass from the Gudra player. Lapras did get stuck in the active spot. All right, Banette going to get an extra energy attached to it. And then we're going to see another turn of item lock. Very unfortunate for Gudra. Very fortunate for Banette. Just has to hope for a stick here. If there isn't, I'm not sure the number of, I think Floatstones just 1 count, so that might actually not work. I was thinking about Guzma Hall getting another Floatstone, but if Floatstone's already in play and there's only 1 in deck, that might be an issue. All right. Once again, we have Banette player just hoping to stall out a little bit. Unfortunate, Lapras is now knocked out. Everlasting Darkness does do damage, and Lapras doesn't have a lot of HP. So a Versus Seeker will win out here. Versus Seeker or Boss or Guzma. Not gonna happen. Just a hit into it. 200 damage on the active Banette. Gonna see an Echoing Horn, forcing Lapras back out into play. Trying to increase the size of the bench. Maybe try to boss stall it again. Or Guzma stall. Interesting. That's a choice. Not sure if that's actually what's going to happen though, because I'm not sure that Guzma stall is available. All right, I think that's a Poltergeist, and that is a narrow miss, I think, on the knockout because of Big Charm. Boom. Okay, that's game, and that's going to be the whole tournament actually. So that is Gudra taking victory over Banette. Banette is not invincible. There are ways to beat it, especially now that Houndoom's gone. That makes it even easier to tackle. That said, everyone, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tournament. I think you'll really enjoy the August one in a few weeks. It's been some really great stuff. Again, if you're in San Antonio area on the 16th of September, definitely jump by and play some Eternal with us. If you want to learn more about the Eternal format, go to justinbasil.com/eternal. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.